us, be it Donald or Ivano or myself. They were more interested in blasting it and making it this bigger than life, which it wasn't. It's not that different than what other people go through trying
It wasn't that different what from
other than the
now,
world
come
tended
on.
to want it.
What is it like to date Donald Trump?
Well, I don't know now.
Where do you go on it
right now?
I know you're not, but where do you go on a date?
You know, we had believe it or not, other than the occasional prize fights and the bankers' dinners, we just loved having an easier life. We just loved going to movies and cooking Italian in and trying to stay away from that, except when his business would sort of force us to be out a little bit more. But it's hard to keep it simple. It's very difficult, and that's really all I want to say about it. It's very difficult to keep a relationship when you are always in the spotlight.
Constantly, yeah.
It's always being judged, and people are always trying to hurt you. It seems like people don't really want you to be able just to have a peaceful existence. There's always a rumor spreading here or there, and it's very hard when you always have to be on. It's hard to have that come down time that you need as a couple to really come back into what brought you together in the first place and keep the softness. And that's what happened to us. I think it affects you.
Couldn't take the pressure of the spotlight.
It's a lot of pressure, and we needed some distance. It's healthy. It's healthy.
So did you ever dream that you would be this famous?
So funny, when I interview people, I ask that question a lot, because I think a lot of us do start dreaming about what we're going to be when we're older, when we're children. We sort of have a vision about what we see ourselves doing. I always felt a sense of purpose. I always felt that I would be in a place where I would be seen and I would have a voice. I never, of course, thought it would be in this means, from my background, strict Georgia Baptist girl. It's amazing, those things we judge the most, how they can sometimes come to face us so we can get over those judgments. Yeah. And it was a good lesson for me. But yeah, I always felt that I was going to be famous. I wasn't quite sure how. I thought it would be more towards either singing or the acting career, or my young dream was to be a professional basketball player.
Get out. Really?
With this area. Oh yeah, I competed for 9 years. It was the best thing in my life.
So you're a jock.
Oh, I am such a tomboy. I always said, don't let the blonde hair fool you.
Isn't that great, though? Yeah. Isn't that?
I think it's really important.
It's like
good for the soul
to be gorgeous and a jock nowadays, isn't it?
It's good for your soul. You need that. You need to be active and keep the energy up and feel like you can set goals. And in sports, it's really great because you can set goals for yourself and really work towards achieving them, whether it be running a marathon or just getting out and being able to play a good game of tennis. I think it's very important. Yeah.
So now you mentioned singing and dancing, which is what you're doing now.
Yeah, amazing, because I got away from that dream. When I was younger, I took a lot of dance classes, did a lot of singing. I sang in Miss Georgia Teen. And my father was a choir director in church, so I was always singing in the choir. And then when I started trying to pay the rent in New York, you just learned that you take the industrial films, you shoot the commercials, you do the soap operas, and I let that dream go. And then when I had the opportunity to audition for the Will Rogers Follies, suddenly I had to snap back into that energy, that childlike energy.
How did that happen? Tell us how you got that job.
It's funny, because I'd met Pierre Cosette through Kathy Lee Gifford, and he had just put the Will Rogers Follies out on Broadway, and it was a tremendous success. And he just talked to me about if I'd ever be curious or interested in doing the show, and we just sort of laughed about it, and we talked about it, and he said, give me a call. If you ever think you would want to do it, give me a call. We talked a few months later, and some other things were going on in my life that I didn't really have the time to dedicate towards getting back into the singing and dancing classes and really preparing myself. But I say about 6 months later, I'd really put in the time, and I had the courage just to audition.
Well, that's got to be worse. I would think auditioning for Broadway's got to be worse than actually getting out there and doing the show, doesn't it?
Absolutely, that was the toughest part, because you have
Who do you audition for?
You
like
have the
3 people
team.
in the dark in the theater, just like it was in Coruscant?
You have all the financial backers, and you have all the creators. You have Betty Comden, Adolph Green, the writers of the music. You have Peter Stone that wrote the screenplay, the script for the show, and then you have Tommy Tune, that's the greatest there is, and all of these people. So it's the singing, the dancing, and the acting.
Do you think they prejudged you at all coming into that audition?
I think,
don't you really think people tend to prejudge you?
Yeah, it was hard. That's one of the toughest things, is being prejudged, but I'd met enough people around that I think they had helped really prepare people to accept me for me and to give me a chance.
So were you having a heart attack that day when you auditioned?
Heart attack. Oh, heart attack.
What'd you have to do? Sing one of the songs?
Well, first I really broke down and cried right before the audition.
Oh, good. She can bring herself to tears like that. Yes.
I know, it was so easy. I was so nervous, and it was like suddenly, I've dreamed about this my whole life, and sometimes when we're faced with our dreams, every fear in the world hits right at that instant, and are we really ready to take it on? And I think that's what the crying was about, is just releasing that fear and finally jumping into it and doing it. So yeah, that's when, you know, Don was there and he said, you go up there, honey, you can do it. And he gave me a lot of courage and a lot of confidence to go up on stage. And then he was out of the picture. He was there for me, but then it was up to the people in the audience.
Good reviews. You got good reviews.
Oh, thank gosh.
Except one rotten review, and the guy reviewed you before you ever went on, no?
Can you believe that? I don't understand that. I mean, this is a fella, I don't even want to say the magazine, but he had...
Oh, sure, say it.
I think New York Magazine.
Fine.
And he gave me a horrible review. He was putting me down for my height. I wasn't tall enough to be on Broadway. Had no idea what my background was.
Out, I guess.
Isn't that
Who is
5'8"?
this guy?
I never thought about being too short. You know, it's, if you have the talent, just let us do it. It shouldn't matter.
I don't think you're too anything.
And he did everything he could to try and destroy me before I ever got on stage. And thank goodness I had people around me that hid it from me, or I would have been, in really bad shape by the time the opening came around.
But that's jealousy,
that affects you. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe it's just meant to make you stronger. You know, sometimes when they put everything out there in front of you, you just...
Yeah, he probably just wants to be you. So you've been doing it since... How long have you been doing Follies? Since...
4.5 months.
Do you still love it? Do you still go out every night and love it?
I love it. You know, I am in love with my cast. I'm in love with the producers of the show. Everyone involved with the show has the best energy. And they're all there really for the same reason. And you get out there and it's like, no matter what goes on in your day, you're there to bring good energy and give it back. You give it, and they give it back to you.
I still haven't gotten back to see it. I'm dying to
Oh, you'll have fun.
All right, we'll take a little break now, but stay with us and see what Marla does to stay in shape. And later, we're going to meet a man who has crashed his way through parties of the rich and famous. Don't go away. We'll be back in a minute.
And 15. Great. Get your other dumbbell and make sure that the weights aren't too heavy. Center with your feet, shoulder width apart, knees slightly bent. We're going to work the shoulders. Stand straight, abdomen firm. Lift the weights up just to the shoulder level, no higher. You're prettier than your pictures.
You are. You're much prettier than your pictures.
Thank you.
And prettier than
my pictures are like,
Anyway, we're back. We're talking with Marla Maples, who, along with the rest of the guests of mine that you're going to meet later, have been in the spotlight and still are being scrutinized to death. You are obviously doing something to stay in such great shape.
Thank goodness. I'm so happy that I put this project together before I got the Broadway show, because it's really helped me have the stamina.
Before the show,
before the show, yeah. I've always been very athletic. And I competed in basketball competitively for 9 years, tennis, swimming, diving, softball. I was always a very big tomboy. But I always loved sports more than I loved just aerobic activity. The jumping up and down was very boring to me. So I wanted to put together a project that could really complement any sporting activity you had, or anything else that you enjoyed, where you just work on conditioning each muscle, each body part we work on and we give individual attention to. We work on toning it and shaping it and giving it the stamina to, whether it's being able to walk a couple miles in your neighborhood or get up on the Broadway stage, where it really came in handy for me. I had no idea I was going on Broadway when I shot this.
Yeah, so. Does it really?
Yeah.
Now, you probably need aerobics to get through that thing, right?
You do. It's been an incredible workout. There's more that goes on behind stage than on stage.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stairs up and down and changes on every time you're off stage, you're making another change.
So is it just a weight video? Is that what it is mostly?
It's all about, I'm a big believer in visualization. I believe that if you get a picture of your mind that you truly believe you can become this way and this is how you want to look, that you can do it with you know, some movement and a proper diet. So are you one of those people
that believes in, like, think thin?
Think thin. Well, I weighed 145 pounds when I was in college, which is like 30 pounds heavier than I am now. And I was in that age where it was Beverly Hills diet. I mean, every single diet that was out there, we were all trying, because everyone in my college, we all gained that freshman 20 and tended to keep going. So I found that what helped me wasn't depriving myself of certain foods. I had to learn to just accept myself the way I was and then tune into what was healthy. Tune into your muscles. Listen, see how you feel better. Find a sport that you enjoy. I mean, it can be swimming, it can be biking, it can be walking. It doesn't have to be stressful. But find something that you really enjoy and become great at it. Set goals for yourself.
When do you have time to work out? Because you're up till all hours of the night, right? Working.
Yeah, I have a lot of...
What time do you get to bed normally after a show?
I'm embarrassed to say, but
by the time you wind down...
I fidget till about 3:30 in the morning.
Well, I'm going to say, because you get wound up to do a show.
You have more energy.
Yeah.
Because we have to be there by half hour, 7:30, and then the show, we get out around 11. And then I can't eat before the show. I get too nervous. So I'll go out and grab a bite after the show. And then I go home, and there's so many little things that I didn't get done earlier in the day that are staring at me. So I usually
do them in the middle of the night. So what time do you get up?
Depends on when the phone starts ringing. It usually starts about 9:30. I've not learned how to really balance the time yet. That's what I'm working on. We get one day off, and that's Mondays. That's when I really try to tune into my health again and
you work?
And be
do you work out every day?
I work out within the show so much that I'm able just to really spend a lot of time stretching. I think stretching is very, very important. So I do a lot of the stretches that I show in the video. I do before I go into the show every night.
And I was reading you ride your bike all over New York.
I used to.
What, are you nuts?
I used to.
I'll tell you something. The last time I was in New York, I was sitting in a limousine. I went back to promote the show. So I'm in a limo, and we're running around to all these little different appointments. And we're sitting in traffic. And you know how New York is. There aren't any lanes. They're just people kind of all beached together. You know how it is. And they have those messenger guys on the bike in New York. This guy came hauling up the street. And I saw him come flying by the window, and I thought, where does this guy think he's going? Here was my car, and here was the car next to us, and there was no room. I thought, where does this guy think he's going? He hit the limo and went flying over the hood of the car and landed in a heap in front of the limo driver. The limo driver didn't say anything. The car next to him, nobody said a word. This guy got up. I'm like rolling down the window. Are you okay? Is everything okay? Got back on the bike and took off.
Oh, can you believe it? I talk about having faith in the ever after.
They are nuts, those guys.
They've got to trust they're going to the right place after.
Well, what do you mean they? You have to have a death wish to ride a bike there.
I learned quickly just to sort of ride in the park during the day, and I would cut from east side to west side, and I would go downtown when I had modeling or acting appointments. It's very frustrating because the subways are very frightening. I had some scary situations happen in the subway. Sitting in traffic, you can't do it, and when you're come to the city and you're on a starving actress's budget, who can afford to sit in a cab all day long? So we would really get on bikes and just put on a baseball cap and say a big prayer.
Carry your gun and go.
Go.
I don't know. So now, you go out to a lot of social things.
Oh, just what you need to do. I think, you know what, I believe it can be very important. I've worked to raise a lot of money for AIDS. We have a group called Broadway Cares and Equity Fights AIDS, and we've done a couple of productions now within the Broadway community, and we've raised like thousands and thousands of dollars this year. I think we just had a benefit where we called it the Gypsy of the Year contest, and all the shows on Broadway come together and they do one special act. They give 5 minutes to just performance, and all my show came together myself, and we sort of did a spoof on me coming to Broadway, and we had more fun, and we raised something like $100,000 in all amongst all the shows. So those kinds of events I think are really important.
You feel like you've been accepted by the Broadway community, do you?
I feel very loved there.
Isn't that
I feel
great?
very at home. I'm very blessed.
That's great.
I'm very, very happy.
So what are you going to do next?
I'm going back. I'm going back to Broadway in January.
Yeah.
We're going to be in through at least October. It's too much fun. Larry Gatlin's coming to the show in February, and it's such a good energy that I really love being a part of it. And I'm out here now looking at some different film opportunities and television opportunities. I love comedy. I love your work.
Stay out of my area, Marla. Stay out of my area.
I'll stay blonde. You stay the redhead.
No. Listen, I'm going to bring out my next guest now. He always wanted to be very close to those in the spotlight, and he was so successful at it that he's now inviting them to his parties. Please welcome Richard Osterweil. Richard, you know Marla?
Almost.
You probably do, from some party. Yeah. We're going to take a little break, but when we come back, we're going to hear Richard's fascinating stories.
Attention ladies, the next Vicki packs a punch.
That's pretty good. That's good.
When women show women the latest in self-defense.
This is what it looks like when the Queen and Fergie get together.
Learn how to pin them down, knock them out, and rack them up.
Rwanda! Yes! Ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to meet my new best friend.
It's one knockout hour on the next Vicki.
great wedding I did go to was Phyllis George, former Miss America, and her fiancé, John Y. Brown, the governor of Kentucky, which was a tavern on the Green, a notably wonderful place to crash parties. And friend and I just got dressed up, went to the door of the tavern, and they said, yes. We said, we're here for Phyllis's wedding. They said, come right on in. We had the greatest time. We sat at the best table in the Crystal Room with the Shrivers and the Cronkites, mingled with everyone, met Phyllis, we met John. We told her we were with the groom, told him we were with the bride. There were 700 people there. Who's going to say anything?
We're back with our guests who have both had to deal with being in the spotlight, Marla Maples and Richard Osterweil. I don't know if you've had to deal with being in the spotlight. You've stuck yourself there. Now, you were telling me that you are a painter and an artist.
Right, a painter.
By profession.
Right.
Well, if you're a painter, that would make you an artist.
An artist, one and the same, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
Right.
But you've driven a cab for a living?
10 years.
And right now you're doing what for a living?
Checking coats for a living. To supplement the painting, so 2 nights a week checking coats.
Right.
But now I've become suddenly a movie star because they made this documentary about me, painting the town, and it's opening up across the country, so who knows what can happen there. That seems to be the spotlight.
It certainly does. Now, how did your fascination with wanting to be around all these people start?
When I moved to New York in the late 70s, I was reading about it in all of the, the Post and the Daily News, reading about these great parties, and I thought, hey, that's not too far from my house. Let's go see what it looks like. So I'd just be outside watching, and I realized that there wasn't that much difference between those people going in and me. The only difference was an invitation. And I just figured out how to do it, and I got into all the parties, one after another. I wanted to be there, I wanted to see what it was like, and I did it.
Well, I don't blame you.
Why not?
You're nuts. You've got a lot of guts, I'll give you that. Chutzpah. Did you ever want to hobnob with Marla?
Of course. Well, she came on the scene later than later on. But in fact, I got to stand behind you at a wonderful party. Remember the party that Cindy Adams gave for Joey Adams' 80th birthday?
In February, 2 years ago.
It was at a restaurant on the East Side.
Right.
And it was the party where they said, if you're indicted, you're invited. Because
over and over and
Bess
over again.
Meyerson, Imelda Marcos, Leona, they were all there. And I managed to get into this very, very exclusive party. And I sort of listened in when Leona came over to talk to you.
Wasn't that nice?
Wasn't that great? She was so nice to you.
Well, what were you girls talking about?
Well, I just hate confrontation. And Donald and Imelda had this ongoing battle.
Leona, right.
I'm sorry, not Imelda. Leona had this ongoing battle through the press, and it was so frustrating to me. So she just came over and said the sweetest thing.
She said something, I probably remember better than you do. She said something like, don't let any of this stand in your way. This is nice. She was just really nice.
She said, don't ever stop being who you are. Don't let them change you, honey. You know that? I mean, it was very sweet. I think she meant it really warmly. And I said, I wish you well. I said, I know you've had a hard time, and hopefully you can make it through this. Yeah. And we all we're here for a reason. We're here to learn. Yeah. And she's learning her lessons right now,
I went to her trial.
You crashed the trial?
I gave her a rose each day that I went, and the Post reported that an admirer of her gave her a rose each day, and she walked up the aisle with it. She was very nice.
Yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Now tell us about meeting Imelda.
Another good trial. It was a subway ride away. And I knew that her sister is a nun. So when I went into the courtroom, I immediately found the woman who was dressed as a nun, and I sat next to her. And during the recess, Imelda came by, incredibly friendly. Hello, how are you? What is your name? We were talking, and we had a really good time, very, very nice. And then she looked down, and I was wearing my running shoes, which is what I wear in New York, and she said, oh, what comfortable shoes. And I thought, wow, here I am. I get off the subway, and I'm talking to Imelda Marcos about shoes. I have really come far.
Wow.
You are nuts.
No limits. He just says, if they can do it, I can do it.
Did she introduce you to her sister, the sister?
We had been talking all along.
My sister, the sister.
We had been talking all along. It was great, but she gave me a keychain with a medallion with her head on it. I thought it was gold, but it's tarnished. But it was very...
It's the thought that counts, right?
Who else exciting have you met at parties? Princess Grace?
When Princess Grace was in town, I'd go to every single party that she came to.
I think I would too.
Why not? Who didn't want to see Princess Grace? She was great.
How do you do this? How do you get into Princess Grace's party?
Well, in one case, it was at the Waldorf in a special little section, and I cased the joint during my lunch hour. And I went and I found the back passages into like one of the pantries. So I and a friend, I was dressed in a tux and she was in an evening gown, and we hid in the pantry. And when the music went, we jumped out right onto the dance floor and then danced. around Princess Grace.
Thank goodness he had positive intentions. Because it's a little scary.
Yeah, it's
when
kind
you-
of frightening, isn't it? It's that easy to get in anywhere you want to go.
Well, not that easy. I
Since
mean,
then
I
they stepped
can
up
do
security,
it.
right?
No, I don't believe in
Not for
security.
you, but
Not
I
for
mean,
me. Security
not
just
for
doesn't
you.
exist for
But
me.
now, won't people know if they see this film?
Oh, forget it. My cover's blown. My poster was all over New York City. This great big picture of me
Wanted.
putting on a bow tie. Forget it. I'm gone. Better than in the post office, but still, forget it. I can never go anywhere
You
again.
have your own parties now.
Now, who did the film?
My upstairs neighbors from downtown on Bleecker Street, Andy Behar, Sarah Sackner, said they wanted to make a movie, and they did in 4 days, and we got such incredible reviews at Lincoln Center that it got picked up by Zeitgeist, and it's being all over the country, 30 cities.
So now you'll be famous and all these people will be coming to your party, huh?
Well, in fact, I had a party about 2 weeks ago at the Russian embassy for my paintings. Unbelievable, 1,000 people. And I felt, well, first of all, I was very, I believe in the new hypocrisy. I insisted on tight security, no food, and lousy coat checking. It gave me such pleasure to see people waiting in line for lousy coat checking. It was great. But what I said was, you know, they came and they said to me, well, how do you feel? What is your next move? I said, well, tonight I'm entertaining 1,000 people at the Russian mission to the United Nations. I'm the host along with the ambassador and the Romanov princes and princesses. And 2 nights from now, I'll be checking coats at Café des Artistes.
Where do you see yourself going, Richard?
Straight to hell. No.
I mean, what do you make of all this? I mean, obviously it's a gift.
Well, I guess
Party
it's a,
crashing.
I guess it's a gift which can no longer be.
Have you ever thought about sketching at these parties, things that you crash? Like here I am
good
sitting
idea.
right next to Princess Grace and doing...
No, I take
like
mental
notes.
sketches of the people, and I remember so many things about them. I remember more about your conversation with Leona than you did, and I was just listening in. So, but I
He
just
studies people. That
I
sounds
study
like-
people. I'm an observer of humanity, and I like going in. I have no malice. I have no interest in, you know, causing any trouble to anyone. I like to go and I like to see. I like to see recording a certain period of time and certain people and seeing them where they are. And it's also a lot of fun. And also the food is often very, very good. Better than I can afford driving a taxi.
Now, what about Andy Warhol's funeral? Tell us about that.
Well, I've covered all the best funerals in New York since the late 70s.
Of course.
They're very interesting events, and they happen only once per person, except in certain cases you get 2 of them, but we won't go into that. Andy Warhol's funeral was definitely the best event of the 80s. I managed to obtain an invitation for about an hour, and I Xeroxed it on manila paper.
Wait, it was by invitation?
Yes,
Funeral?
yes. Xeroxed it on manila paper, invited 30 of my friends, and we had 3 pews in St. Patrick's. It was great. Then there was a party afterwards at a club, and it was only 300 people, and I used a fake name to get in. I saw the woman go in before. She had a weird name. You couldn't tell if it was a woman or a man. I saw her go in with her invitation, and I waited 10 minutes. I said, I'm here, and my name is such and such, and they found it on the list. Sure enough, there it was. I went in with a friend. There were 300 people there. I was the only one I didn't recognize. It was everybody you've wanted to see from the 60s, the 70s. Yoko Ono, Don Johnson, Liza Minnelli. It was phenomenal.
Did you find that they were any different than other people that you meet at your own parties?
No, that much, not that much
the
different.
food was better.
The food was better.
He doesn't talk to him. He's busy recording it and eating the food.
Oh, I talk to a lot of them. It's pretty
Do you?
interesting. They can't quite figure out who I am. But since I
But
say,
they know they've met you somewhere.
well, I say, didn't we meet at Cindy Adams' party? And they say, oh yeah, I was there. You know.
You were with
And of
Leona,
course you
right?
Right. It's that
Say,
kind
you
of thing.
are a nut. All right, we have to take a little break here, but you're going to recognize my next guest from a series of coffee commercials that are sort of like mini soap operas, chock full of all that sexual tension. Take a look at this.
Hello. I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm having a dinner party and I've run out of coffee.
Come in.
Thank you.
I'll just do that. Would Taster's Choice be too good for your guests?
Oh, I think they could get used to it.
It's a very sophisticated coffee.
They have very sophisticated taste.
Do they?
Yes. Well, I must be getting back.
Savor the sophisticated taste of Taster's Choice.
So, have you met your new neighbor yet? Oh, I've popped in for coffee.
Please welcome the Taster's Choice lady. Here is Sharon Maughan. Sharon, oh, there's Sharon. We're going to take a little break, but we'll be back to talk to Sharon in a minute.
Let me know what you think about my show. Don't spare my feelings. I'm a big girl. I can take it. And if you say something nice, maybe you'll even be a guest on the show. Just call 1-900-28-VICKI. That's 1-900-288-4254. Call costs 75 cents, and you must be at least 18 to call.
I'm going to get changed. Coffee's right there.
Taster's choice. I'll get it, okay?
Hi.
Do you want the lady of the house?
Well,
She's getting changed. Would you like to come in for some coffee?
savor the sophisticated taste of Taster's Choice.
Who was at the door?
A neighbor. I said you were in the bedroom.
And did you tell him who you are?
He didn't ask. Great coffee.
Marla Maples, Richard Osterweil, who currently has a film out about his life in the spotlight, and Sharon Maughan. And the plot sickens there, doesn't it?
Sickens or thickens?
I'm just a little play on words there.
I appreciated that.
Is that the latest one?
Yeah, the latest one that you've seen.
Now, you are a classically trained British actress, yes?
Yes.
and this is your most famous role.
Well, this is the easiest role I've ever done, too, so it doesn't make any sense that this should have got the most attention. I was just saying that I do these 4 days a year, I shoot these. You know, I have worked my boots off in the theater. In the theater in England, I've done 7 television series as the leading lady, and I've just been respected. Now this is making me something else, I guess.
Isn't it hysterical how that happens? And how did this happen? Tell everybody how you got this part.
Well, you know, I don't go for commercials because for me it's a soul-destroying experience because they just wheel you in and wheel you out. And I just happened to be in a building at a time, because this campaign started in England. At a time I was meeting a friend for lunch. I was deeply unemployed because I'd just had my second child and I'd committed a sin because as an actress you're not meant to have more than one. That's your concession to womanhood. 2 is a sin. And so they saw me sitting out there, and I guess it was a combination of believing that I was a respected actor and I didn't go for commercials, and 2, I was obviously available because I was meeting somebody for lunch. They asked me to go in and talk to them about this campaign. They'd been looking for a couple of years for somebody. They hadn't found her, and I said, this is ridiculous. This doesn't even happen in Hollywood, and it happened in London. And it's come to Hollywood.
Now, this is, did you say 2 years this was in the planning stages?
They told me that they were developing the campaign for 2 years, and they had been looking for the woman for that long, yeah. Yeah, they had the man before
This is like the search for Scarlett O'Hara, isn't it?
Well, I wouldn't want to say that.
Now, what's going to happen? Do you know? Are you privy to the upcoming scripts at all?
I know what's happening in the next one, and I'm not telling you.
Do you have any input into what happens, or?
No, I do as an actor. You don't in commercials. There are so many conditions. There are so many rules and regulations. There are so many boards deciding where this comma is, where this period is.
Yes, or that was a great take, but it was 1/5 of a second too short.
All of that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I just act the best I can. I don't have any other contribution than
But it's quite a provocative role, don't you think? It's a great role for you.
It's fun to be sexy.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever wish it went any...
You're very good at it.
Well, I try. I
Are
have
these
2 kids. I don't
30-second
get
spots?
to do it at home. What?
Are they 30-second spots?
I think,
Minute
what do I know?
spots?
I just get wheeled in and wheeled out. I don't know.
They're like
40, 30, I think we do one of each. I think they're 45 and 30 or something. Whatever they are meant to be is what they are.
It leaves you wanting more, too.
Yeah, do you ever wish there was more? Do you ever wish there was a script?
We've talked about that. And if the whole of America wants a script, then we may do a series about it, but we have to get the letters coming in.
Now, wait. This could be a great marketing thing, though. You could do a drama, and Taster's Choice could be your sponsor.
Your sponsor,
and you'd never
paying
have
the
to take
money.
a commercial break.
That's right.
Wait, this could be a whole interesting thing here.
Yeah.
Now, I guess we have time for one quick question from the audience. Question? Yeah? Okay, but make it quick, please. Stand up, stand up.
Okay, actually, it's more of a comment than a question. I just want to say that I really love your show. I think everything you do is absolutely terrific. I mean, the time you had Carl Burnett on the time. I mean, I used to watch Carl Burnett when you were on the show with her all the time. It was really funny. And she told that joke was just horrible. It was filthy. It was dirty. And then Dick Clark came on and he talked about all the feud that you had going on the pyramid. I used to watch on the pyramid, you know, fighting with him all the time. And you had those sister act ladies, you know, I will follow him, follow him, follow him. fireman? And how about Betty White? And she came on with all those Dalmatians, and those Dalmatian puppies were just incredible. I wanted to become a fireman. I mean, it was absolutely incredible. Dixie Cottages teaching me how to be a Southern Belle. I mean, I just think the show is terrific.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is none other than that fast-talking Federal Express man, John Moschitta Jr., and we're going to be back to talk with John a little more slowly and our other guests, and maybe John will give us a lesson in talking.
Sure.
We'll be back in a minute. We'll be back in a minute. I promise we'll be back. We'll be back. Hey, you got a video camera or you know somebody who does? Well, turn that camera on yourself and tape your thoughts or ideas in 30 seconds or less, and we may even play your tape on the air. Send it to us at 3000 West Alameda Avenue, room 2977, Burbank, California, 91523.
They call me the Micro Machine Highway Warrior, the daringest dude on the road here to beat up the highways with these mighty Micro Machine Highway Warriors. These Micro Machine Highway Warriors are the mightiest micros ever with totally tough snap-on armor. They'll leave you in the dust. Don't pick a fight with this Micro-Mite. Remember, if it doesn't say Micro Machines, it's not the real thing.
With Marla Maples, Richard Osterweil, Sharon Maughan, and the world's fastest talker, John Moschitta, and we're talking about life in the spotlight. Kel hairdo there, John.
Hey, I know it's kind of different for me. Usually I have nothing up on top there, so.
I think. Now, we first saw you, I think, in the Federal Express commercials, no?
Well, that was the first commercial using the fast talking. I had done other stuff before that, but...
But now, which came first, commercials or talking fast?
Well, actually, when I was 12 years old, growing up on Long Island, there was a cerebral palsy fair a few blocks away from my house, and they announced that they would donate $2,000 to cerebral palsy for anyone that broke a Guinness record. So first I wanted to ride the roller coaster at Coney Island, so I called Coney Island, and they said, hey, kid, take a hike. You're 12 years old. We are not going to let you strap yourself into the cyclone for 2 weeks straight. So I went home and I started flipping through the book and decided I wasn't going to eat a car, swallow lead pipes. So the next best thing was to lock myself in a room and teach myself how to do the fast talking, which is what I did. I also had 5 sisters, so to get a word in edgewise is a little bit of a tough thing.
Now, you know what? Y'all are laughing, but the amazing thing is if you really stop and listen, you can understand every single word, can you not? Now, you're in the Guinness Book of World Records for what?
For speaking 586 words a minute. I've actually spoken a little bit faster, but that has not gone into the book yet.
Do you have tips? Maybe could you, like, give us a lesson in how to...
Well, I've been looking at everybody in the audience here, and we got Pearl over here, we got Miriam and Andrew down on the end, and we got Ann and Ann and Ann and Ann and Ann and Ann. We got a lot of Anns out here. So what I thought we'd do is I can get...
Are we up to our button Anns here?
Well, we got Ann and Ann and Ann.
A lot of Anns, don't we?
That looks like Sherry Ann next to Ann and Ann. So we got, you know, we got every combination here, but they look like they're ready to learn to do some fast talking. Aren't you ready to learn to do some fast talking?
Yeah.
Well, and we should have everybody up here join in too, and you should join too. What we'll do is, it doesn't just have to be the first 2 rows. Everyone in the audience can do it. First, we'll give you a couple of warm-ups, but before we start, you got to limber your jaw. So I want you to all go. Okay, now you're gonna get that tongue limber. So, come on, I want to see some tongue out there. Okay. Now we're ready for an easy one. Papa, Dada. Okay? And we'll start slow and go faster and faster and faster. Papa, Dada, 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 Papa, Dada. I think we lost some dentures in the front row here. I'm not sure. All right, does everyone know Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers? Yes. Okay, now the clue here is just picture those words flying past your eyes. Don't even think about it for a second. Just say it and keep going and do it as fast as you can, all right? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Peter Piper,
I'm lying. Peter Piper.
But it's great party noises.
I can't understand me like I can understand you. Stand up. Do Peter Piper picked a peck of peppers. Fast as you can.
Peter Piper, Peter
Sit down. Let me hear. Stand up.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked.
Oh, for heaven's sake, that's not fast enough. Do what's got. Come on, Andrew. Peter Piper.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
Brandon, stand up. Fast as you can.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. How many bags of pickled peppers? Peter Piper picked.
Now let me hear you do it, John.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked.
We've all got to really work on this.
Well, actually, that Federal Express commercial, which people still call me the Federal Express man, was 12 years ago.
Wow. Was it really?
So,
are we getting old that fast?
We're getting old. There's a whole generation of people who just know me as the Micro Machine Man. I've done over 100 spots for them in 32 countries. So they weren't even alive when the Federal Express commercials were on, so they don't know.
Whoever would have figured that you would have an entire career out
For
of this?
15 years of my life, I was told to shut up. Now it's my son.
I know,
the
because
fast
one of our
talker.
producers, David, worked with you in New York, and he said you used to drive him crazy doing
I used to drive everybody crazy from the time I found out I could do this when I was 12 years old. I mean, people were kind of, shut up, shut up, shut up, stop it. Yeah, David and I worked together on game shows ages ago.
I know, and you drove him nuts. We're going to take a little break, but when we come back, we're going to find out which one of our guests bathes the audience in a white light and prays to entertain and make them laugh before a performance. We'll be back.
Learn the latest in self-defense techniques when women show women how to protect themselves on the next Vicki.
Marla Maples, Richard the Party Crasher, Sharon the Coffee Lady, and John the Motor Mouth. And who had questions? Questions, stand up, please. Yeah.
I wanted to ask Marla, are you still dating Donald at all?
Dating? I don't have time to date anymore.
No, you're not dating the Donald, but what is it? What is going on in your personal life?
You know what? Doing 8 shows a week and promoting this video, it's really tough. I'm just enjoying my friendships and
you have
just really
no
tuning into
personal
myself.
life?
Well, I try to make all of it personal. The show's personal to me, so that's the friends that the people in this show are my best friends. So that's better than anything.
You see yourself married with children someday, though?
Someday out there.
We got a
Someday,
question
probably.
down here.
We'll see.
Stand up. Yes.
Have you ever gotten thrown out of a party that you've gone to?
Numerous times. Yeah. But I'll tell you, getting thrown out makes getting in the next time a lot more fun.
Well, who did we not get to hear about that was really exciting? How about Jackie O? Did you tell us that story?
Oh, well, one of the first things I went to was a party in which I waited outside, waited for Jackie and the kids to get out of the car, jumped in with them, all the paparazzi flashbulbs. They just thought I was with Jackie and the kids, and we went right on in.
Well, so there you go, kids. You just jump in a group and watch.
You can do it, too. You can do it, too.
Yes. Stand up.
Vicki,
What is your
clothes
question?
are just beautiful. I'd like to know who your designer is.
Is that a question that's pertinent to the theme of this show?
Oh, I have seen this show before, and the last outfit you wore was just gorgeous. I just wanted to know if you
Well,
have a...
thank you so very much. Joanne and Dina will be thrilled. Those are the girls that are shopping for my wardrobe at iMagnin. Thanks, kids at iMagnin. Yes, they're doing a lovely job. Oh, gosh, can I get back here? Stand up. Stand up. Excuse me, pardon me, coming through. Wait. Oh,
I have a question for Marla. Marla, did you ever give back the engagement ring to Donald Trump?
That's one of those important questions,
This fellow
right?
is from the IRS, and he would like to
It's
know.
amazing how much emphasis people put on the ring. I gave it back to him like probably a couple months before you even knew we were broken up. It just...
Wait a minute. Hold it. Nobody can hear you. Say again.
Sorry, I knew you had an argument with him and you threw the ring on the floor.
Where did you hear that? Did you read that in the newspaper?
They read it in the Inquirer, Marla. What do you think? How come you gave the ring back?
You know what? It's not about a ring. And
Now, listen, that was you that bathed the audience in the white light. And is this like a positive visualization thing?
Oh, yeah. But you know what? I just think it's very important to put good energy around yourself and really tune into a higher purpose
We have
and
to teach
to
me how to
God.
do that,
So, yeah,
so I
I do
can
that
do it with
before I
these
go on
people
stage
here.
every night. I have this a bit of time right before I open the show, so I squeeze down in this tiny little elevator, and I hear the music, and I go up and I bathe all the crowd, and I say, let's have a great time tonight.
We'll be right back. Taking a break. I want to say hi to a couple of our stations before we have to go. WMTV in Madison, Wisconsin, WFTX in Fort Myers, Naples, Florida. We can't do this without you. I'm starting a new tradition today. I'm stealing it from Carol Burnett, but there are just too many interesting people that come through this show. So I'm starting an autograph book. In the meantime, you are in Follies as we speak.
Right.
Wait,
Right.
take the little top
Thank you.
off.
I've done
And
this before.
the new exercise video is
Yes.
called?
Journey to Fitness.
With
me.
Marla?
With
Yeah.
Marla,
And
yeah,
thank you for
101.
being here. It was great fun. And thank you, Richard, and Sharon Maughan, and John Moschitta. It's been great fun. And thanks to all of you. We love you, and we can't do this without you. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
accommodations furnished by the Sheraton Universal Hotel, official hotel of Universal Studios Hollywood. It's the hotel of the stars and so close to the action, you'll feel like a star yourself.
BLS Limousines, serving Los Angeles and New York for over 14 years, can provide sedans and limousines for every special event. BLS Limousine, cars to the stars.
Thank you, I'm Magnum. If you like what I'm wearing, kids, go get it there.